At some point, I noticed something that completely changed how I think about business, and honestly, how I think about life in general. Most people don't fail because they aren't capable or because they don't want to succeed badly enough. They fail because they spend most of their time on things that don't actually move anything forward. They're busy, but they're busy in the wrong direction. When my business started growing quickly, it wasn't because I suddenly worked harder or became smarter. It was because I got very clear about what actually worked and what didn't. And I stopped wasting time on everything else. Once you do that, things stop feeling random. You start seeing patterns. You know what leads to what. Progress becomes something you can understand instead of something you just hope for. And this idea applies to people too, not just business. A lot of people think that if they slow down for a while or stop pushing, nothing really changes. Like life just pauses and they'll pick it up back later. But that's not how it works. When you start moving towards the person you want to become, you don't stay in the same place. You slowly move in the opposite direction. Not in some dramatic way, not overnight, just quietly. Over time, you start doing a little less. You accept things you wouldn't have accepted before. You stop correcting small problems. And one day, you realize you're living as a version of yourself you don't really respect. That's usually when people feel off mentally, even if everything looks fine on the outside. Because deep down, they know they're not going where they want to go anymore. This is where people usually get confused. They think the solution is some big moment where everything suddenly changes. Like they wake up one day, feel different, their life just turns around. And sure, that might happen for a day or two. You might feel motivated for a bit. But it doesn't last, and it doesn't actually fix direction. What really changes things is much simpler and honestly, less exciting. It's doing small things every day, very small things. Things you can actually do on a normal day without needing perfect conditions. When you do that, something important happens. You don't need to convince yourself to become a different person. You slowly become that person because of what you do. Your actions start shaping you, whether you notice it or not. One reason this works so well is because people misunderstand how progress feels. Most people expect progress to feel good right away. They think they'll feel confident first, motivated first, clear first, and then they'll act. But in real life, it works the other way around. You act first, even when it feels boring or unclear. And the confidence comes later. The clarity comes later. The good feeling comes later. Waiting to feel ready is usually just another way of delaying action. Small actions remove that problem because you don't need to feel ready to do something small. You just do it. Another thing people don't realize is how much of their environment controls them. Not in a dramatic way, just in a quiet way. What's around you, what's easy to access, what's visible, what's distracting. All of that decides a lot of your behavior without you noticing. That's why relying on willpower doesn't work for long. Willpower runs out. Environment doesn't. Small actions work better when your environment supports them. If something is easy to do, you'll do it more often. If something is slightly harder, you'll do it less. This isn't about being strong or weak. It's just how people work. This is also why vague ideas don't help. When people say things like, I want to improve, or I want to be successful, it sounds nice, but it doesn't tell you what to do next. On a normal day, when you're tired or distracted, vague ideas don't guide behavior. That's why it helps to write things down in a very clear way. Not big plans, just simple actions. Things you can do or not do. When something is written clearly, there's no debate. You don't waste energy deciding, you just follow the plan. At some point, it also helps to write down the version of yourself you don't want to become. This part is a bit uncomfortable, but it's useful, because if you don't choose a direction, you still move. You just move by default. But when you write down what you don't want your life to look like, it becomes easier to notice when your actions are pushing you in that direction. Small choices add up, whether they're good or bad. Nothing is neutral. Everything points somewhere. Once you have that written down, decision-making becomes much simpler. Before you do something, you can ask one basic question. Does this move me closer to the person I want to be or closer to the person I don't want to be? You don't need to overthink it. You don't need motivation. You just need honesty. If it helps, you do it. If it doesn't, you stop it or limit it. Over time, this removes a lot of mental noise. You're no longer guessing what to do. You already know. Another mistake people make is overestimating how fast change should happen. They expect big results quickly, but when that doesn't happen, they think it's not working. But direction matters more than speed. A small shift in direction done consistently beats a big effort done once. You don't need to move fast. You just need to move the right way. If the direction is right, time starts working for you and not against you. Tracking also helps more than people think. Not in a strict or stressful way, just paying attention. Noticing what you actually do, not what you plan to do. Most people think they're doing more than they are. Writing things down creates honesty, it shows patterns, it shows where time really goes. And once you see that clearly, it becomes much easier to adjust. All of this leads to the same bigger idea. Almost everything meaningful in life works because of consistency. Business works like that. Personal progress works like that. Even how you feel mentally works like that. Nothing real changes because of one big moment or one burst of effort. It changes because of small things done again and again. Those small actions don't feel powerful in the moment. They feel boring, but they add up. One day you look back and realize you've moved much further than you expected. So the goal isn't to start big. The goal is to start small and keep going. You don't change your life overnight, and you're not supposed to. What you change first is direction. You decide which way you're going, even if it's only a small shift. And once that direction is clear, consistency takes over. You keep showing up, doing the small things, and over time, often without noticing it, your life starts to look very different.